Hello, everyone. My name's Hank Settle. I'm the Sonic Shaman, and in today's live stream, I'm going to be sharing with you Jumpstarting the Spiritual Experience, the first installment in the Art of Spiritual Healing, a program with Zane Curfman. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome again, and thank you so much for joining me. I have a video that Zane made as part of the 9-month Art of Spiritual Healing. It's called Jumpstarting the Spiritual Experience. I'm going to share it with you in just a moment. It was intended to be a preview on the website, but honestly, I couldn't figure out how to get it to be viewable without people having to enroll. So I'm going to be sharing that with you here in just a moment. But just to give you an idea, it's the cross-cultural tradition, or sorry, the Katari tradition of cross-cultural shamanism. And it's deeply rooted in the Paqo Kuna work. And the program that Zane has really put together is about personal development, about personal healing, about developing and refining your unique voice in this world. In the tradition, we say you refine your nectar to draw to you the Sauro Quinte, the royal hummingbird, which is our connection to Wiracocha. And hang out through the video. At the end, I will tell the story of the flight of the condor and the hummingbird, and I will answer any questions that you have. So if you want to, as things go through, if you have questions, go ahead and ask them. We can go ahead and address all those at the end. And we're streaming to so many places today that the best place to comment is on the YouTube stream. I don't see all the Facebook destinations. So if you want to make sure that I see your comments, please go ahead and do that over on the Sonic Shaman YouTube channel. I put a link in the comment of the video, so you should be able to see that. But without further ado, let me show you what this looks like. So this is the dashboard for Transcendent Minds, and this is where the course actually lives. And what the way that we're doing the program is all the things that are really important are all pre-recorded, but every week we have a live stream. So ideally, people are coming into the live stream or not the live stream, to the Zoom call, having watched all the videos and are on, everybody's on par with all the work that's been done that week. And then we jump into ceremony, experiences, and all that type of thing. But this is the jumpstarting the spiritual experience. But let me put it at the beginning of the video instead of the end. Here we go.
Hello, I want to welcome you to this first training, Getting Started, Jumpstarting the Shamanic Experience. The origin of the word shaman itself is a bit of linguistic mystery. Its first recorded use was in the 17th century by the Russian Orthodox Church clerics and Dutch travelers who had stayed among the Tungus-speaking Siberian people. It is from these Siberian cultures that we believe the word shaman originated, meaning one who knows. Later, when the academics and priests came to the New World and saw the spiritual practices of the indigenous peoples of the Americas, they noted certain similarities to the Siberian spiritual practices and used the same word to describe the spirituality of these New World people. Anthropologists continue to use this term to define many ancient spiritual traditions the world over. Shamanic traditions, regardless of the culture they come from, all have certain things in common. This is true regardless if the tradition is Tungus Siberian, South African, or Peruvian. The key things that define shamanism are: all shamanic traditions are individual spiritual practices. They are not organized religions. The next feature is animism, which is a belief that everything is alive and conscious. Since all things are alive, intelligent, and conscious, we can find ways to communicate and develop relationships with them. In other words, shamanism is spiritual. We're working with spirits here, and we see the world as being made up of spirits, and these spirits are intelligent. We can build relationships with them. Developing relationships with the unseen spiritual world is the foundation of shamanism. But how do we do this? How do we come into relationship with the unseen world? By accessing higher states of consciousness created through ritual and ceremony. Some traditions use visionary plants, sensory deprivation, physical exhaustion, or meditative practices. Regardless of how they create the altered state, it is facilitated through ritual and ceremony. In the simplest terms, through ritual and ceremony, we clearly set an intent and raise the vibration or atmosphere of the setting to support that intent. Correct ceremony and ritual is what makes the difference between a powerfully healing and life-altering San Pedro Masada and a potentially dangerous and trauma-inducing drug-filled trip. It's all about set and setting. And you'll learn more about raising the atmosphere of your ceremonial space during the later lessons in this course. For now, it's enough to understand that ritual brings about relationships. Most modern teachers of shamanism often overlook one of the most important aspects of the traditional way of teaching, ending up with their students not developing the power or the character needed to become true agents of change in our world. That overlooked aspect is the speed and focus of the training. Modern teachers are in such a rush to satisfy their students' yearnings for instant gratification that they focus on intellectual information dumps. Driving in years' worth of spiritual knowledge into a weekend or two does not give you the opportunity to find and develop your unique gifts in a useful way, or to heal your wounds so that you do not end up projecting them onto your clients. Information and knowledge is just trivia. It does not help you develop the power, the character, or the wisdom to offer something meaningful. The traditional way is to take it slowly, learning little by little, each step building on the foundation of the last. This develops the whole you, not just your mind. First, we must learn to raise our own vibrational field and how to maintain that. This is necessary not only in taking an active sovereign role in your life, but an absolute must if we want to offer something meaningful as a spiritual healer, mentor, and visionary. In that case, we must master this art of creating well-being no matter what the situation. And the only way to master this skill is through the laboratory of our lives. There's just no other way. Creating well-being regardless of situation is a real gift. With this foundational skill alone, you can transform your life for the better. And this is just one of the skills you will learn in this course. But to develop it, you must act, not theorize or philosophize about it. The path of the shaman is about taking action. And I promise, if you take action and truly apply what you're being taught, it will change your life forever. Getting started in these first steps, we are laying the foundation of certain mental understandings that will allow us to jumpstart the spiritual experience. This is known in the Andean tradition as the Pana, or the right side teaching. The right side teachings are first and foremost about installing a framework that allows us to have deep spiritual experiences, teaching us how to correctly open sacred space, and the basics of ceremony and ritual. We can see this as downloading the software. Right now, we are all running Modern Mundane Human 5.1, which is great for living in the modern world, but it only allows for a few specifically sanctioned spiritual experiences, and rarely for a life-altering one, and never allows for deep spiritual experiences to be a normal part of our daily lives. So the first job of the right side teachings is to download the software Shaman 9.1. The second job of the right hand teachings is to show you how to operate the software and launch the app. It's not enough to have the software. Software without application is useless. This is the downfall of root book learning. It often becomes just a collection of trivia. The first concept in this framework is the idea of a universe of living energy. Existence itself originates from a non-material metaphysical universe, an energetic template that both informs and provides substance to the material reality. We call this the Kausai Pacha. The universe of living energy is made of many types of energy. You, me, that tree, blade of grass, a rock, and even the chair you're sitting on. It's all made of living energy. And because of that, on the spiritual level, it's all intelligent and conscious. Next, we each have a Paqo, which is just an exotic Quechua word for personal energy field. Other cultures call it the aura, or luminous energy field. Regardless of what we call it, this is a field of energy that surrounds and informs our physical body. I like to see it as an energetic organ that organizes and regulates the flows of living energy, creating an energetic template that informs, regulates, and creates our physical body. Everyone, whether they see themselves as spiritual or not, have directly experienced this energy field. Have you ever heard someone say, "Get out of my space"? They are having an experience of their sacred space, or could be called personal space, being encroached upon. So whether or not everyone believes in the energy field, we all know we have one. So it's truly not a question of belief, but of having another term and understanding of the experience. Congratulations, you just upgraded your software. See how that works? Pretty cool, eh? For the ancient Inca, the experience of living energy was the nature of reality, and they were preoccupied by this experience and how it lined up with the phenomenal world. This is why their language has so many tasty words to describe energetic experiences and interchanges, because that was primarily what they focused on, how the energetic structured the physical reality. There are just a few more core concepts I want to quickly touch on to help jumpstart you into deeply meaningful spiritual experiences. Shamanism is a spiritual art. This means that it is based in your perceptions, and that with practice, you get better at it, giving you the ability to express your sacredness and manifest your dreams. In this work, we take the perspective of a soul-inspired artist, not that of a skillful technician. It's about feelings more than structures. This means we want to pay primary attention to our feelings and our experience, not to what those feelings and experiences mean. Let's try not to judge or label it. When we judge or label it, we are moving our processing power to the rational analytical mind. And the rational analytical mind just isn't made for operating in these experiences. The analytical mind is slow and clunky, great for defining, categorizing, and comparing things, but terrible at experiencing them in full. And shamanism is quintessentially about the experience. The intuitive mind allows us to access the eternal moment, the place of now. This is the sacred space where shamans work, where miracles happen, a place unchained to the past or future. The difference is in field of focus. The intuitive mind is holistic in nature and processes uncompressed raw data in the now. The analytical mind is specialized for fast, categorical processing using a compressed field of information. It is about drawing conclusions, not about being part of the living experience. Have you ever taken a beautiful picture and wanted to share it over email or Facebook and had to compress the file? And what you are left with is, well, just yuck. It doesn't convey the original beauty of the photo you took, because in the compression, information is lost. Bytes that are considered non-essential are filtered out and thrown away. But if we look at these pictures, we can see just how essential that information is. During your spiritual work, don't do this. By switching into analytical mode, you are filtering and compressing the information you are receiving to draw conclusions. If you find yourself switching over into analytical mode, just switch back. But I will tell you, this isn't always easy. It's a skill you get better at the more you do it. It is important not to get upset at yourself when this happens. Getting upset will initiate the self-destruct sequence for the whole experience. Understand, this is just the rational mind doing its job, checking in to make sure everything is safe. So don't beat yourself up. Just respond with something like, "Oh, that's interesting." This lets the rational mind know that it's been heard and it will go back into the background. It is also important to politely let the rational mind know that this is not the time or place for it, and that after the experience is ended, you will come back to it and allow it to process it for hidden clues and information. In this way, we are training the rational mind to support our spiritual work. It is very important, but it has to understand its job is not during the experience, but after. Shamanism is process-oriented, not procedural, meaning we have millennial-old proven processes that we use. And these processes jumpstart internal processes. There's no one way this should look or work. It is all part of our uniqueness. Finally, we want to enter this work with the playfulness of a child. We have a unique word for it in Quechua. It's pukliai, and pukliai means play. We use the same word to describe the play of children, the courtship rituals, and the sacred work. I know it may seem counterintuitive when you're working with someone whose world has just fallen apart, who just survived a terrible trauma, or someone that's trying to survive a life-threatening disease. This does not mean we make light of what's going on in our client's life or downplay its seriousness. We must learn to be sensitive and create an atmosphere where they feel safe. But if we approach the solution with the same rigid, heavy energy our clients have, we are offering nothing new or meaningful or comforting to the situation. Do you get what I'm saying? The last thing I want to add is belief is a cheap thing. For all of this to work for you, I do not need your belief. I know I'm telling you a lot of crazy stuff. I'm telling you the world itself and everything that exists is made of spirits or spiritual energy. I'm telling you that on some level, that chair and even that plastic pen on your table is alive, intelligent, and conscious. I'm telling you that you are surrounded by a luminous energy field that organizes and regulates the flow of spiritual energy to create your body. Let me repeat, I do not need your belief to make this work for you. All I need is the benefit of your doubt, meaning I just need you to apply what I'm teaching and have your own experiences. This is all based on your experiences, not my teachings. Once you have an experience and you realize the experience is reliable, you will, through your own experiences, develop faith, and that is better than belief. Beliefs are a dime a dozen. Faith, well, it's priceless. At this point, I would like you to put down all of your writing implements and turn your awareness inward. We are about to do the first process to solidify all that has been said and jumpstart your ability to enter the spiritual experience.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. So that was the first video that Zane put together for the Art of Spiritual Healing. It's a 9-month program that we're diving into, and we do it every year. So if it calls to you and it's really not possible this year, it's going to be back every around spring every year. We like to start the program because it's kind of like you're planting the seeds that are going to sprout and then flower, and 9 months is how long it takes to make a human life, roughly. So there's a very significant amount of thinking that went into how we were putting this together and how we're offering it. And the entire course is built where there's these pre-recorded videos that have the crux of what is important, because Zane is known for going off on tangents, I'm not going to lie. But this really focuses the information. And then every Tuesday, there is a live Zoom call where we do ceremony, where we do practice on each other for the different processes that are taught. And then there's like a makeup clinic once a month that if you can't make a live call, you can still come there. You have the video of the call, and you can come to the makeup clinic to exchange processes with people and all kinds of fun things. So do you have any questions? I wanted to make this available for everyone. It was supposed to be available on the Transcendent Mind site, and I just couldn't figure out how to do it. So I figured I would do a live stream and share the video this way. And I see quite a few people watch throughout the whole thing. So if you do have any questions, now is the time to ask. We did have one person saying, "You rock. Thank you so much for tuning in." Or if you have any comments. Oh, and I did promise to tell the story of the condor and the hummingbird. In this tradition, this is the story of really the first connection to Wiracocha. And so the people were looking to see who should be king. And the condor said, well, surely I should be king. I am the biggest of all the birds, and I'm able to soar into the Hanakpacha, which is the upper world, and actually perch on the garden of Wiracocha. Perch outside the gates of the garden of Wiracocha. And they said, oh, surely if you can do that, you should be king. And they said, who else wants to try this feat? Who else wants to see if they could be king? and nobody says anything. And then you hear this little voice going, I could do it. I could do it. I could do it. And there's this little hummingbird raising his little wing and is all excited that he's going to, fly to the upper world. And everybody kind of laughs. And, this can't possibly be serious, but everybody is entitled to make the effort. So they set a date, and the next week, everybody gathers and the hummingbird does not show up. And of course, the Karo, being a practical people, tell the condor, well, you still have to fly. You have to prove you can fly to the gate of Wiracocha to be king. And so the condor takes flight. And after a very long time flying through up until the upper world, the condor arrives at the gates of Wiracocha's garden, lands, starts to catch his breath, and he feels something in the tuft of his feathers. And out from the tuft of his feathers pops the hummingbird going, I did it, I did it, I did it. And of course, the hummingbird being so small and tiny, he's able to fly right through the bars of the gate of Wiracocha and is so excited and so exuberant with being there, isn't paying attention, and crashes into Wiracocha as he's tending the garden, or she's tending the garden, it's tending the garden, and falls down to the Kaipacha, the middle world, creating the first Psique line, the first connection to the upper world and to Creator for Earth. Now, the significance of the story is also this, that we do these spiritual processes, these spiritual practices to refine ourselves. We're taking our heaviness, our condensed energy in our field, and enlightening it, but putting it back into flow. And as we do this and we refine this energy and we flower our own unique voice in this world, that is the nectar that we're offering into the space with our fellow travelers, if you will. And we do that so that we draw to us the Sawar Kinte, the royal hummingbird, the connection to Wiracocha, where you can then walk hand in hand with the spirit of the universe to actualize your dreams and to offer your unique medicine voice. But it's refining that and offering that flowering to the Creator, to the Sawar Kinte, to make that connection. Great. Any questions? If not, then I will go ahead and end the stream. I'll wait 30 seconds to see if anybody has any questions or comments. And I should mention too, if you are watching on like the Facebook pages for Goddess Elite or some of the other places, I don't see all the comments because of the way that we're streaming. So I would see it if you're on my profile, if you're on the Sonic Shaman Facebook profile, in the Holistic Health and Healing group, not the Facebook page, or on the YouTube channels. And I did put a link to the YouTube channel in the comments, so you should see that. If you make a comment there, I can see it for sure. Any place else I'm not 100%, then I'll see it. But we'll wait just a moment and see if there's anything else I would want to share with you. While I wait for if there's any comments, I'll also share with you just how I personally came to the tradition. I was going to school at Lilydale, which is in New York, and it's one of the largest spiritualist communities in the world. And my roommate for this 2-year program was named Dave Orlasky, and he went, at the time, Ken Harsh, when he was alive, he's kind of like the godfather of crystals, and he would do all these rock buying trips and make them super cheap so people could go with him, and he would go around the world buying all the stones that he would get for selling and bring them back with him and all that. And my friend Dave went to Peru with him, and he had gone to like 10 different villages to find these different stones called chumpy stones. And I should have had them with me. I wasn't expecting to tell this story, but they're these beautiful little stones. Originally, chumpy stones were made out of shells, but I'm going to go off on a tangent if I go there. But anyway, he buys these 10 stones and he gets them from 10 different villages, and he's getting them for himself. And then when he meets at Lilydale for our monthly program, Spirit tells him, give them to Hank. And he's like, really, Spirit? Because he had gone through all this effort. And not only did he get him in Peru, he took him to Egypt, and he took him to Hawaii, and he took him to all these other places he went with Ken and included them in sacred ceremony. And we did a ceremony at Inspiration Stump, which is in Lilydale, and he gifted me the set of chumpy stones, giving me 7 of the stones at the time. I didn't know there were 10 till years later, which will be a full circle to the story. And I asked him, well, thank you so much, but what are they? He said, they're chumpy stones. And I asked, well, how do you use them? And he said, well, I don't know. I just bought them. I didn't get any training around them. So then I start searching. And I find there's a book called Inca Mountain Magic, which has one chapter that makes a reference to the chumpies. And that book is by Zane Curfman. And so I'm excited because now I know somebody who actually knows these things and knows how to use them. And I reach out to Zane, and he said that it's part of an apprenticeship. It's not something you can just teach somebody. There's work that has to be done to build up to being able to use them the way that they're intended. And so I started hosting Zane in 2014 for 1-day and 2-day workshops. And then we got enough people interested that in 2016, we had our first apprenticeship program, which at the time was 7 weekends, where we would meet Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And all the alumni that took it there then and then have taken it online since, the degree of depth you can go into virtually is just so much more, and the digestible bits every week versus an information dump in a weekend. Like Zane said in the video, the information dumps don't give you a chance to really have the process and the experience. So now spreading it out, it's been a whole different experience. But anyway, I had the apprenticeship with Zane. This is my fourth or fifth time going through all the work with him, hosting the events for him. And when I finally learned how to use the chumpies, which is actually, there were originally only 5 stones, and they're related to these energy centers called nawis. And the nawis are basically these eyes of energy, which is how you regulate energy into and out of your personal space. And when I called him and I said, well, I finally learned how to use those beautiful stones you gave me. I would love to gift you the champi awe, which is a building ceremony. And he came to my office, and that was the first time he actually told me he had never intended to give me the stones. Spirit told him to give them to me, and he was like angry at Spirit because he put so much effort into getting them. And when I gifted him the ceremony, he gave me these other 3 stones that he had gotten with it, which was an 8-pointed stone and 2 little hands representing the left hand and the right hand side of the tradition. And that's the story. That's how I found the Paqo Kuna tradition of Peru, and it's so changed my life that's why I'm organizing the events for Zane, trying to keep them as organized as possible and creating the space where we can reach so many more people through online. Like with the last apprenticeship online, we had people in Arizona, California, Maryland, Buffalo, New York, of course, people from Cleveland. And had COVID not occurred, that would never have happened. And so what is the bless in the mess in COVID? You know, everybody, some people have bad experiences with it, but what if you could have the space to see the bless in the mess of what COVID has created for you in your world and the positive things? And I'll leave you with this acronym for COVID. COVID is a verb. It is the Earth's way of making us stop for a moment to COVID, to create opportunities via intuiting divinity. And so what if we could change our point of view about it being such a trauma to the world? And what if it could be a possibility? It is the wake-up call for us to sit, just me, myself, and my soul, and to really have an awakening and to start having life happen through me instead of to me. So with that, any questions? Because I went on a bit of a tangent, but thank you for staying with me. I love to see how many people are watching. So thank you so much. Please share this video. You know, even if people don't take the apprenticeship right now, I put a link to Zane's book in the comments. It's a wonderful place to start with the tradition. We will also be having, it's not announced yet, but we'll be having an in-person retreat in Virginia sometime in August. So if you check the Emergence of Being website, we're just finalizing the details and we're going to roll that out. You don't have to be in the program in order to attend that. So that's going to be a whole nother offering. It will be a limited capacity because of us, you know, the rules and all that stuff, but we are planning that and we'll be announcing it very shortly. And I guess that's it. You guys are a quiet group. There's so many people watching and there's no questions. If you think of anything afterwards, you can email me at hank@thesonicshaman.com. That's the best email address that you can reach me. Or if you know me on Facebook or whatnot, you can send a message through my page or to me on my personal profile. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And looking forward to hopefully seeing all of you in one of the events one day. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.